Hey there, all you filthy heathens. This is Kirk coming back to you. This is going to be a really quick episode. Just want to update you on a few things. These episodes are going to be coming out a little bit late this week, primarily because of the little guy you see on the screen right now. It was my son's first trip to the emergency room this week, so things got kind of sidetracked. I was actually going to record this the night I had to take him to the emergency room. So let this be a lesson. Do not let your kids run around the kitchen. So they had a little bit of a trip and fall, and he's all right, though, in good spirits. Just a little bit of super glue and a sticker, and he's all good. But, yep, these things are going to be a little bit late. Normally, I keep things and post them to Rumble, usually at least 24 hours in advance. This is going to be the 1 week where I put everything on Rumble and YouTube at the same time. There might be maybe a couple hour delay between Rumble and YouTube, but yeah, for the most part, it's going to be same day, same time I'll be releasing these videos. But I just wanted to give you a brief reason why that was going to happen this week. And if it comes down to recording this podcast or making sure my little boy's taken care of, that's obviously an easy choice. So, but we'll get right into it now. Is the main story of the week is, actually, let me pull that up. I pulled up the wrong one. Here we go. So it is the freedom protests going on in Canada. That is the big deal of the week. This trucker protest has caught on around the world. You've seen France try to crack down. You've seen other countries just lift their mandates, trying to make sure that nothing like this goes on. Basically, what's happening is that all the truckers have been hit with a COVID vaccine mandate, and they're like, no, I don't want to get the vaccine. So they drove and blocked all the streets around the capital in Ottawa. This is great. This has been a truly peaceful protest. Anybody who's against this but was for the George Floyd riots back in the summer of 2020, you can go fuck yourself, because this is what an actual peaceful protest looks like. Even in the wake of the Canadian police showing up, confiscating their fuel, propane tanks, gasoline, even wood, so they can't even create a fire out of wood. They've done everything they can to try to make these people hostile and attack them and violent. And in the middle of a Canadian winter, they're still like, nope, we're good. We'll make it work. So this has been a great thing going on in Canada. I feel as an American, I really feel like we got out-freedomed by Canada here, and that is, on one hand, I'm a bit annoyed by that, but on the other hand, I mean, go Canada. I mean, honk honk, mother truckers. Fuck yeah. You guys go ahead, do your thing, and, we got your back here in the United States. Real Americans do anyway. The people who supported the George Floyd riots that hate you, they're not real Americans. They can go to hell. So, as you can see right here, Daily Wire, the freedom protests are continuing. They're not just blocking the Capitol in Ottawa, which is great. They're actually going and they're blocking the main passage between Detroit and Windsor. They're blocking that Ambassador Bridge. I think that's between Detroit and Windsor. Yes, it is. So right here, Canadian truckers protesting vaccine mandates remained at the Ambassador Bridge connecting Detroit to Windsor, Canada. So yes, this is great. They're also blocking the main thoroughfare the main connection between Alberta and the United States. And that's where a lot of the shipping comes in, because it's on the other side of the Rockies. So it comes right down that highway. I've driven through there many times. I grew up in North Idaho, so I know how that works. You don't want to have to go across the Rockies. So this is the way you don't have to go across the Rockies in order to, travel between the two countries. And I think it's great. They're holding true to their word. They're like, no, all the vaccine mandates get lifted or fuck off. And I'm down for it. I appreciate it. And, keep doing it, because I want to see that happening in the US, and I want to see it happen in any other country that has vaccine mandates. Get these politicians to realize that, again, that they work for us, not the other way around. And especially in Canada. Canada has a 90% vaccination rate. That right there, if the vaccines work, which I am on record repeatedly saying they do, and I will stand by that right now. If they work, and they do, 90% vaccination rate means you have herd immunity. Everything that you guys have been saying for 2 years now, that we are trying to work to through a vaccine rather than people getting it with such a high mortality rate. Yes, that's what we're working for. And Canada's there. They already have it. This 10%, they're taking it on themselves. That happens. So the fact that they're not lifting these mandates, especially for truckers who aren't really around people all that much, I think it's great. I hope it comes to the US, and I hope it comes to any other country, especially New Zealand and Australia. I hope it goes there and just, turns things around. So keep going, guys. Americans love it. Keep it going. I mean, in the UK, can you imagine if 100 to 1,000 truck drivers surrounded Parliament and surrounded, number 10 Downing Street? That would be glorious. So keep it up, guys, and we got your backs here in the US. So now moving on, sticking with kind of COVID, but here in the US, we've got a little bit of a problem, and it kind of snuck by the radar with all the craziness that's going on. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if the whole Ukraine thing is kind of a distraction from this, because the Biden administration is saying that Russia is gonna invade Ukraine any day now, and they've been saying it for about a week and a half. And Ukraine keeps saying, no, I don't think they're gonna invade. So it's really weird what's going on. But in the lost in all the shuffle here, in the meantime, the Department of Homeland Security in the US has heightened the US terror threat to include the spread of COVID-19 misinformation, which everything that has been misinformation over the last year and a half has now turned out to be true. The only conspiracy theory that was called out back in the summer of 2020 about COVID that turned out to completely not be true is that COVID didn't exist. And I don't know anybody that said that. I think that might have been a left-wing thing that they blamed on the right, which is something that they've done before. But they decided that proliferation of false and misleading narratives on COVID-19 is contributing to an increased threat of terrorism and violence. No, the lockdowns, the vax mandates, that's what's contributing to a threat of violence. All right. And by violence, it just means bigger protests have a chance to spark violence. So how about you just get rid of the vax mandates, get rid of all this nonsense that's going on, let people go back to work, let people live their lives freely again, and the protests go away and there's no threat of violence anymore. Now, this sounds like a conspiracy theory that, the Department of Homeland Security is just, yeah, sure, they're going to come after the right-wingers on this. But it's right here. It's right here on the DHS website. You can see for yourself. They are basically saying anybody who is a proliferator of false or misleading narratives which sow discord or undermine public trust in U.S. government institutions. I mean, so basically anybody who disagrees with the government is now a terror threat. I'm not buying it. DHS, I was so in favor of this organization, of this department being made a department back in 2003 when it was made. I'm thinking we should get rid of it now. I really am. I really thought this was going to be something that, really helped protect our homeland, and now it's being used to target political wrongthink. I'm not happy with it, and I'm on the cusp of thinking DHS needs to just go away. Okay, so that's all I got for now, as far as, actual important things. The things that don't matter but are fun, the Super Bowl this week. And as you see, I'm a huge Cincinnati Bengals fan. If you've seen my videos posted the last couple weeks, I've been just ecstatic that my Bengals have gone this far, especially with a pretty weak offensive line. And they got a tough test with the LA Rams, who have probably the best defensive player the last 10 years, at least the last 10 years, probably the last 30 years, in Aaron Donald. So yeah, this is going to be a really tough test for the Bengals. And on paper, the Rams should win this game. On paper. And it pains me to say that, but it is true. The Rams, on paper, they have, the Bengals have a very weak offensive line, but the Rams have a very good defensive line and pass rush. The Rams have the best defensive back in the game, but I'd say the quarterback is better on the Bengals. So, but I mean, the quarterback on the Lions or on the Rams came from the Lions. He was kind of in purgatory back then, but now he's on a good team and a good organization. So, on paper, the Rams should win, but I'm going with my Bengals. Absolutely going with my Bengals. I don't know what it is, but I don't see this game being a blowout. And I think that's how the Rams would have to beat the Bengals. They would have to go in there and basically be up, 30 to 3 at halftime to really actually win this game. I think if it stays close, you're going to see that the adjustments the Bengals make at halftime are going to be huge. And you're going to see the Bengals come back. If this game is within 14 points at halftime, if I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I would put money down on the Bengals to win that game if it's within 14 points. So I'm sticking with my Bengals this week. I've stuck by them this whole season, even when they lost to the Jets. So I'm sticking with them. I think this is the beginning of Joe Burrow's career where he really makes a run at being in the GOAT conversation. If he wins this game, he has a chance at being in the GOAT conversation. That somebody who can win 4 or 5 Super Bowls, somebody that gets mentioned with the Joe Montanas, the Tom Bradys, the John Elways, Terry Bradshaw has four rings, even though it was mostly his defense that was the best. But yeah, I think this is going to be the start of a I don't want to say a dynasty because I'm still not sure on the Bengals, front office and their the organization as general, the ownership, because they're cheap ass motherfuckers. But I think this can be the beginning of a Bengals dynasty, and I think Joe Burrow has the capability of being the leader of that dynasty. So sticking with the Bengals, gonna go with them and hoist that Lombardi trophy. So I'm hoping I can I can celebrate with a beer and a cigar after the game. If I can't, I'll just commemorate my loss by with a beer and a cigar. So that's all I got for today. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Check me out on Twitter at Heathen Kirk on Twitter. And then if you want to support my work, go to filthyheathens.locals.com and sign up there. Other than that, you guys have a great weekend. Hoo day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.